most of the Thanksgiving.
I really need my fan.
Well, maybe, Wes, you should just cook for us, and we'll come over for dinner, and then we'll just try your recipe.
Hey, there you go. You got it.
Excellent.
All right. We're doing it, yep. Then I'll get my recipe book in, because you're going to like it. So.
Sausage spaghetti from O'Keefe. I could get behind that.
How long was it for? You don't need that, Chad. You don't need that.
Daddy's skillet fried corn.
Okay, just a couple of reminders. The microphones are here and there. So to the presenter and me, it helps if you speak up to go on to YouTube. And we are live. Also a reminder, if you're talking down there and someone's talking here and the speaker's talking, it all comes through at the same level. So side conversations are all picked up and the camera's down on top of that TV. Couple things. I don't think I've had the chance to formally introduce Robbie to everyone. Robbie is our office administrator in the mayor's office. Her job is to try and keep me and Deb on track, which is like trying to herd cats. So she's got quite a job ahead of her in that regard. So if you see her, say hi. If you don't, say hi anyways.
Hi, Robbie.
Next up, just as a formal announcement, earlier today I accepted Anthony Armstrong's resignation. So you'll notice there's not a finance director in the room. That was effective immediately. So bear with us a little bit, and we'll probably come to y'all on Thursday with what our strategy is going to be in that regard. With that, the budget is a little bit different. We brought it up in the past few years. One of the, one of the issues the last few years that we've been trying to do is automate the reporting. The prior way we had to do it is you basically generated this report and then you went in and inputted in Excel and reformatted the whole thing. So then if you had to change one line item, you reprint the whole budget, you re-put it into Excel, and then you redo everything. So it meant that changing was very time consuming, not to make the change itself, but to get that in a publishable format. So this is the version we brought, I think it was actually 2 years ago. It said, are we good to move with this? And this should mirror and match what we have for the financial report. So it'll just become the more familiar version in the short term. Or in the long run. In the short run, we still haven't got the workforce completely down. So it's going to be a little bit frustrating or different than we're used to. We used to go to a department and then it had the personnel breakdown was right there. It's no longer there, so it's on a different page later on. So we basically got the budget, the workforce module, and then the capital at the end. So on the little cheat sheet I gave you, you should, for most departments, you'll have 3 numbers. The first pages are the main pages of the budget. The page with the P is the personnel, and then the page with the C is 58. So when you look at Public Works, it's Public Works is on pages 19 through 20. The personnel page is on 51, and the capital's on 58. So just that on a little bit of the formatting. And then we're going to kick it off just kind of taking a look at the health of the 3 funds in general. From the general fund side, this was a little bit tricky of a year for us in terms of revenue. Was pretty stagnant in the sales tax area, which really rendered everything else pretty stagnant. Thankfully, property taxes were up a little bit, but our revenues versus our expenses is not necessarily in the best position. I've ended up spending a lot more time working on the form and getting the budget together than I would like. But we're in a position still that we've really got to watch our spending, because we can't operate on a real negative 1.9 million in the general fund, if that makes sense. So you'll see revenues are totaling about 19.5 and expenses about 21.5. So we run a deficit of 2 million this year, and only 740,000 of that is capital, which means we're running about 1.3 negative on the books in operating. As our general fund, we spent it down and sort of allocated those monies the way we wanted to, primarily for capital. We're gonna be in a really rough situation if we don't start making some corrections. And there's no new positions built into this budget. We'll talk about those. There's no pay adjustments or pay increases built into this budget. We had health insurance went up 9%, which we're surprisingly thrilled that it was only 9%. But I think we're gonna get dinged pretty bad next year because we had a 2-year contract. And so just be ready for that next year. We really pinched down in capital a bit this year, but maybe there's still room to go. And then you could see we did what we could do in operating, but it's still a little bit of an increase. There's a bit of a, if you look on page 1, kind of at the adopted budget, it had 6.8 or 6.3 in the amended budget for operating expenses. That is a little bit tricky of a number because we had 1.2 million of that. 1.2 I think was for the fire truck, and so that went into operating, not capital, simply because we transferred it from one fund to the other. So it goes into an operating transfer out. So it may look like operating is down, and I tried to trim some out, but we're still above in operating. So personnel expenses are going up. When I say there's no raises or adjustments, this includes, there is already built into the system the 3% merit increase, and already built into the system the existing step increases. So those are already there. There's no extra adjustments built in. There's no sort of pay raises outside of that merit built in at this point in time. So I guess if anyone has any questions about the general fund, we can talk about that generally or just get to it at another point.
What's the primary driver for being 1.6 in the hole from an operational standpoint? So I know we've tried to keep it, like you mentioned, where we're covering our operational expenses with our revenue.
It's a little bit less than that. We have 225,000 built in for strategic plan, a comp plan, so that's technically not a reoccurring cost, but it does show in operating. We just get, personnel is really the uncontrollable element. Once you hire someone and get them in, they're there, and it's a 3% raise at least every year, basically. And so that, with rising healthcare costs and sort of the non-negotiable, the things that we can't negotiate too much on, are just continuing to rise. So we'll notice just every contract is going up. So many of the purchases we're making, the amount of money we spent years prior doesn't purchase the same thing, so we have to increase that money. We'll go through the budget a little bit, but it's there's not a lot of huge adds. It's just you got to find ways to continue to push down, especially on reoccurring costs. So there was no one big thing that just knocked it out of the park.
I'm sorry, you probably said, and I didn't hear, on miscellaneous revenue, why is there such a difference between 2024 actuals and year-to-date actuals 25?
You're looking at where?
Under revenue, miscellaneous revenue, 2024 actuals to year-to-date 2025.
The 2024 actuals, we had a whole lot of insurance claims for city roofs all across the city. I don't remember that exact dollar amount, but it was substantial.
Yeah, I remember.
Which is why insurance is so much higher this year.
Part of it.
We'll sell that kind.
And then miscellaneous revenue is a hard one to budget for because a lot of it is just things like insurance claims or unanticipated revenue. I have, for most things, more information available that I can pull up on this computer as we go along, just for fun. For the sanitation department, which is on page 28, we are really, we've rebounded. We're going in the right direction relative to where we were before the rate increase. But I don't know that we're getting to a meaningful number anytime soon. So if you look at the 25 amended budget, it had us growing that account by 33,000 in 25, and we're looking at growing at 24,000 in 26. At this rate, we'll be in trouble simply because it takes one need to purchase one vehicle at $350,000, and at this rate, it wipes out 10 years of savings. So that department still runs pretty lean, and we'll get into that here in a minute. But we probably need to look at some sort of cost increase. One of the things I was asking Mike Hogan to look at is we changed our standard rate for per house. There's a few extra things that I want to calculate to see what that would generate. That is, in terms of if you have 2 trash cans, that second trash can, it's been the same price for since way back when. We didn't adjust that, and so there's a few sort of extra little things that we're going to run some numbers on, hopefully by the time this is done, to see if we're changing those, which doesn't change the bulk of people's rates. What does that look like at the end of the year? But again, we have a mixed bag in that we're fully staffed in a lot of departments. I think sanitation's getting there. We can talk about that. That has the blessing of having the people. It has the downside of saying these are not inflated numbers, where we're expecting to shoot hundreds of thousands of dollars less in expenses than we're budgeting for. So we're really tight still in sanitation. That's food for thought there. Street department is on page 31. At this point in time, is still my favorite fund, that and the general fund, so I've named 2 out of the 3 big ones. We're doing pretty well there. Forgive the formatting for the revenues, it's broken down a little bit weird. But we're still looking pretty healthy in that department, especially since the bulk of our costs, well, the biggest category of costs is capital. But, it's about 2.5 million if you add both personnel and operating relative to the 1.6. Revenues are fairly easy to project most years in the street fund because it's mostly turn back funds and money coming from the state. We use the numbers for budgeting purposes that are given to us through the municipal league. They're expected to stay pretty steady in 26 over 25. Any questions about the funds, or should we just jump right into Mike? We can take those questions also as we go. Mike, Public Works, if you don't mind. So that's pages 19 and 20 for their general budget.
Give some folders out to kind of hopefully streamline and simplify it. So in this first page of Public Works, these are the items that were either increased or decreased in the CIP items. So
So I also should say this, the last version of the budget was finished, Councilmember Holt was already sitting in here while we were working on it, so, while I sent it off, they haven't seen the new version, and I'm not sure, if this accounts for even the version that was sent out last night, or just what your requests were.
Okay, so the only version I hadn't got is what you just handed out, as far as the line items, if there was any changes. But anyhow, we'll start out with Public Works, and I do know that I asked for an electrician, but that has, no personnel changes at this time, right?
There's none built in, but talk about
Gotcha,
that
okay.
position, that's been one we've talked about for a while now.
Okay, so, this is a position that me and the mayor's been talking about, to get in a licensed electrician. We do a lot of things through building maintenance, that this could be very beneficial, not only to Public Works, but to every department throughout the city. We do certain things that require a licensed electrician that would be beneficial in the long run, and it could also train our employees because they are a licensed electrician. If we can get somebody in, then they can go through the apprenticeship and start training people within. So that's something that I think would definitely be beneficial somewhere down the road. If it's not this year, maybe something to be looked at next year. Also, I know I'm not asking for it or hadn't brought it up, but even a plumber situation, we get into things. We know we do a lot of plumbing, but then it gets into what code enforcement allows us to do in-house, but you're supposed to be a licensed plumber. So these are things that we're trying to bring up to par that benefits us in a lot of ways, and it's crazy. I'm licensed in RPZs and testing and repairs, but I'm not a plumber, so I can't do the inspection through code enforcement, what they require. Even though we did it all in-house, I had to call a plumber in just to inspect it. And, if we could do that in-house, it'd be great.
So, can I ask a question?
Mm-hmm.
So what do you do now if there's an electrical issue or whatever without it?
We take care of a lot of things in-house, but what we can't take care of, we outsource. Yeah, so Inline Construction is one of our big companies that do the electrician type work that we can't handle. So, but if we had somebody in-house, there's a lot more we could do instead of outsourcing. So, any other questions, or I'll move along. So in Public Works General, if you'll open the first page, these are some changes on grounds maintenance. $5,000 increase from $20,000 to $25,000 due to increases of tree removal. So we've had to remove a lot of trees, and the cost is going up. Also, building maintenance, $2,000 increase from $11,000 to $13,000 due to increases, plus equipment and facilities are just aging. Third line down, vehicle maintenance, $1,750 increase from $62,250 to $28,000, just due to cost of parts and labor service. Equipment rental, we upped this. Well, actually, Mayor, correct me if I'm wrong. That budget line item was zeroed out, and we increased it and got to $5,000, right? I believe that's correct. So. For potential rentals of equipment, I know some of the equipment, we put that cost in there due to having to rent equipment while other equipment may be being worked on or broke down. The next one is employee training. This was a decrease, $2,000 from $7,000 to $5,000. Small tools was a decrease from 1,000, or decreased 1,000, 6,000 to 5,000. Janitorial supplies, that was an increase, $250, 4,000 to 4,250. Electricity was an increase from 14,000 to 17,500. Telephones was a decrease, $4,000 decrease from 8,600 to 4,600. Gas, fuel, and oil was a decrease, $15,000 decrease from 46.5 to 31.5. If nobody has any questions on those, I'll go into the CIP items. So,
Mike, I have a question. Do you think it would be possible for us to look at what we have paid an electrician throughout this year to see if that would even come close to what we would pay an employee? I think that would be an interesting number to look at.
yeah,
Because I would imagine you've paid more in outsourcing an electrician than you would pay an actual one on staff.
we have, yeah, for sure. So, and here's something I'll say, and I'll kind of give an update on is North and South Odom street lighting. That last outage that we had, it was $38,000 for them to come in. You know, some of this, if we had a licensed electrician, they know a lot more than we know how to troubleshoot and stuff. But that's one cost. I mean, it was $3,800, I believe, just to get them to come out and do a cost estimate to analyze it. There's a cost for that because they got to do a lot of detection and look into it, testing stuff, just to give us a cost for the repair.
So getting that number isn't as easy as you would think, because it's rarely an occasion of us hiring an electrician to come out. It's things like the street lights that the electrician may or may not be able to fix in-house versus having to go out of house. There's also maybe some work being done that ought to be done by an electrician that might not be being done by an electrician. So there wouldn't be a cost on that, but there's...
So
Yeah.
he was actually talking about code enforcement
I was
and
trying
what they
to
would
skate
allow
around
him
it.
to do and not do.
Yeah, well, he was talking about that for the plumbing stuff. So which is a little bit different, because I think we can do more plumbing. You just have to have somebody say this is good, because plumbing doesn't zap you the same way the electricity zaps you.
Yeah.
If things don't. But no, like I looked at that to see if we could just pull up the electrician bills and then go, oh, we could throw these away and just hire the person, but it's not that cut and dry that I was able to find.
But yeah, I can come up with some costs for sure.
I just think it would be interesting, and I think it would save us a whole lot of money if we did have one.
Yeah, definitely it would.
And I think there's stuff that doesn't get done because it needs an electrician.
Right.
Yeah.
So this was one of the positions we were gonna add last year, but then I pulled it at the last minute when we were really going through the crunch. So it's something that we've been talking about for years, and that basically most department heads are like, yeah, I'd love to be able to call our electrician to come down and look at our lighting or our issues internally.
I think they would be busy.
Yeah.
When it came up in the staff meeting, it had great interest by Philip, by the rest, they were fully in support of Mike's idea.
Yeah, and you know, I know as a city, pay is not as good as being for a private contractor. So we kind of might have a possibility that could happen to get somebody in due to having benefits and insurance, with those hopes to get somebody in. But electricians, yeah, they're not cheap by any means, so.
I've got a quick question. I don't see the electricity or telephones.
Next page.
Is it on there? Oh.
Yeah, telephone,
Okay.
yeah, second page.
And then Matt, this is a weird question. I don't know why. But I noticed the mosquito abatement I'm assuming that's the truck that drives around. Have we ever looked at, how effective that is and if that works? It doesn't work at my home.
It usually scares them in the backyard.
It pushes them into the backyards.
It does work, and I know.
I appreciate the service, don't get me wrong.
Yeah, so it's a love-hate thing. Residents call all the time wanting to know when we're gonna spray. Then we have beekeepers that hate us. And we keep a route that we do, and we know where the beekeepers are, and we don't spray because it is effective. Your kids should not ride behind it on their bicycles like we all used to back in the day.
Is that the issue?
That's the problem.
That was wrong.
Okay, this is so
Well,
weird.
all
Okay.
kids,
You didn't do that?
yeah, all
I
kids
didn't
used
do
to do that. It was fun riding around the smoke, so,
I will say this with the mosquito abatement, the goal is not to make it mosquito free, it's to tamp down the
Sure.
levels.
yeah,
Um,
yeah.
So we don't spray often or enough, like if you hired the mosquito person to come, they're gonna do a much more thorough job at your property than we'll.
Right.
But it is worth keeping, you think?
To some people, yes, probably more than not keeping it. We get a lot of calls on it each year, and it does work because when we have a sanitation truck in the shop, we have to keep doors closed. We get buffalo gnats, we get bugs in there, and we'll back it up to the bay door before we leave at night, spray it for a few minutes, the next day, the bugs are gone, so it's effective.
Okay,
Yep.
thank you.
Anything else before I move on to CIP items? If not, machinery and equipment, this is broke down into.
So, just as a look at page 58 for the capital, second to last page in your book.
Were you just telling them where the page was?
Yeah.
Okay.
I thought he was gonna say something else.
Yeah, I thought he was gonna say something too. Machinery and equipment, this is $3,700 that's coming out of 3 different budgets because this is used on all 3 departments. This is a diagnostic machine. Yeah, so it's a total $11,000, $3,700 out of each budget item, and this is an upgrade to our diagnostic machine that we already have. Is that correct? Yes. Okay, thank you. The next one down is also out of the same line item. This is an AC machine, $3,100 out of all 3 budgets for a total of $11,000 on that one as well. This is a new AC machine because they keep changing the AC refrigerant that goes in them. The new vehicles, they change it, and you have to buy the upgraded equipment. So these things aren't cheap, but if we can do it in-house, it's cheaper in the long run. The next one is a Ford F-150. $55,000 request, and this is including all the upfitting. It's for the crew, emergency lighting, directional lighting, yeah, all the stuff we need to equip this truck out.
And Mike, I didn't get to talk to you about this. You had 2 vehicles in there. I pulled one out. I wasn't making the determination as to which of the ones needed to come out.
Right, so, yeah, me and James talked that out and decided this was the one that was more important, so, okay. Any questions on those? If not, I'll move on to streets. Did I make my 15-minute mark on that?
You know, I didn't time it, but I'm pulling it up for your next one.
All right.
What is that?
Well, I was hoping this would streamline it and make it quicker.
The infrastructure drainage is just the standard. We have 25,000 in that budget every year for just drainage issues that aren't in the street rights of way. So if and it's usually drainage pipes but if they're not always in the rights of way, so we can't always use the street fund.
Yeah, and I apologize, I didn't mention that, it's on my page, but not on my cheat sheet, so.
That's why it was different here than here. Okay. Got it.
Alright, street department, had a change, in overtime.
Street department's page 32.
$23,000 increase from 0 to 23,000. Uniforms provided, there was a $2,000 increase from 7,000 to 9,000, being fully staffed. We had to increase it some. We didn't have to do it before because we were so short-staffed. Let's see, vehicle maintenance, $9,064 increase from $61,036 to $70,100, just due to increase in cost, parts, labor, service, all that good stuff. Snow and ice removal, there was an increase of $1,000 from $7,000 to $8,000 for the supplies and material. Subscription, there was a decrease of $500 from $2,500, dropped it down to $2,000. Office supplies, there was an increase of $500 from $2,500 to $3,000. Small tools, there was a decreased it $2,000 from $9,567 to $7,567. Let's see here. Decrease amount was moved from capital equipment to HD diagnostics machine. Okay. So this decrease, James, correct me if I'm wrong on this.
This decrease was because we moved the AC machine and the AC machine and the diagnostic machine was moved over to a capital item instead of a line item.
So yeah, okay. Thank you, sir. Safety apparel, increase of $500 just due to fully staffed, and safety apparel was increased due to that from $2,000 to $2,500. Electricity, there was a $15,000 increase. These are on the street lights. $15,000 increase from $128,200 to $143,200. Equipment under 5,000. There was an increase on that, $4,500 from $5,500 to $10,000. And that does it for just the regular line items. And I'll move on to CIP items if anybody has any questions on.
Sorry, I'm trying to, because we just got this, I'm trying to look,
Right.
listen, comprehend, all the things, all at one time. So back to the equipment, tell me again why it's going up from 600 this year to 10,000 proposed for next year.
And this is which one?
Equipment 47400. It just says equipment.
Equipment less than 5K.
Oh, okay. Okay, I'm sorry. So,
Yeah.
what was your question again? Why did it go up?
Yeah, so the year-to-date actuals for this year, it's 600, and we're proposing 10,000 for net, that's a significant.
So it used to be at 10,000, and of course the notes on here requesting that it stays at 10,000 on this line item. So it was decreased, I think, this year, and we were asking to bring that up because that's kind of a safety net, so to speak, with, equipment breakdowns, different things like that occur throughout the year. So this is kind of a safety net for us.
It's just a padded line item.
It is, and it's amazing. Some years, they hardly ever get touched, and then some years, it's like, holy cow, I'm glad we had that. So
So they had that in all three of the budgets. I think I pulled it out as, general fund.
Yeah.
And I was talking to Mike, and I'm like, if we're gonna make cuts, I'd rather cut padded budgets than actual thing. In the street department, I think and sanitation, I left it, cause it's largely their money anyways.
So, but we only spent 600 this year.
Correct. And so the question, and here's what happens, when there's overages in a line item, we have one of two ways to fix that. One is by transferring it from one line item to the other, and then that means they're cutting back on something else, or the second is just budget resolutions, as it is, so. He wants a padded budget there.
I have no problem with the padded budget, but if we have, I mean, kind of back to your point, if we have too much padded budget, then our proposed budget for this year will look significantly larger for next year than it was for this year, and that might not look great. I mean, the key is to try to budget as accurately, obviously, as possible, but it just seems like a big pad.
It is a big pad, but so that's why I pulled it out of the general fund, out of public works, but left it in the streets.
Okay.
It's a big pad until one thing breaks.
Exactly.
Like,
Not
oh,
yet.
Yeah, I mean, sanitation.
But they come to us
No.
asking for more money on top of the 10,000.
Exactly, yeah. So, I know the mayor kinda looks at it differently than I do, cause he's like you know, it looks better on the budget if you
Yeah.
don't pad it, but for us, the hiccups they're catastrophic, you know, you're $10,000
Well,
to be
because
wiped
we
out
didn't
just
have
like that.
something this year, it's
Exactly.
inevitable.
It's more than that. My email to him was, wait, you have spent $0 in 23, 457 in 24, 600 in 25. Why do you need to go from 5 to 10?
Yeah.
And his response is, well, clearly I'm being responsible with that line item. It's just there for emergencies.
Good job. Thanks, Mike.
I don't know that he said that, but yeah.
Right.
I have a question on the increase on the street lighting. Will our LED grant help reduce that cost?
Maybe,
should.
yeah, it will for Odom, but that's a small chunk of the city
Yeah.
streetlights that we pay a flat fee on.
Okay, so flat fee.
We pay a flat fee per light per month, except for the ones on Odom that are metered, and the ones that we own and operate are metered. So it'll make a difference.
We're saving a lot of money on North Odom right now.
Yeah.
That's one way to save.
What was that?
I said we're saving a lot of money on North Odom right now.
Yeah.
That one area's been out for quite a while.
South Odom, and kind of an update on that, we've got breakers that are throwing, we're getting ready to pull new wire in-house, to try and get these breakers from tripping. So we had them all fixed, all but 3 lights, Inline come out, did their repairs.
On South Odom, we still got.
South Odom, yeah, so, the ones on North Odom, I think the Cobra heads are needing to be replaced, so we're aware of this, and I promise you, I wanna get it fixed more than any resident that's complaining, because I'm getting a lot of complaints on it, so. We were gonna start that Monday, but I know we had the bad weather come in, didn't know what it was gonna do. Yeah. So, just kind of a heads up on that, it's forgotten about, but, yeah. All right,
So
any
this,
other questions?
strategic planning, another one of those things, kind of padding on the budget. Showed 0 use this year, but we got $10,000 in.
For strategic planning?
Yeah, next to the last line on, page 32.
Mm-hmm.
432.
Mayor, you may have, let's see, strategic. Well, I've got it here.
That's the last.
Oh, here it is, okay.
Wait, that is not padding, that is I don't know why it's strategic planning, it should be, professional others. We had that in there a few years ago for, if there's any sort of small engineering, that's supposed to go on. I and I don't have comments as to what it, because last year was the first year we had it.
So it should be professional other?
I believe it was supposed to be for, let me pull up the 25 budget. I believe it was supposed to be for, engineering.
Oh, I see.
Mike, does that?
I don't recall it being strategic planning, so I think you're
So
right.
that code? It's just a bad code, it's supposed to be something else.
It was strategic
Well,
planning in
yeah.
25.
So that's what it's always been, is
Yeah, last year I think was the first year,
okay.
but I'm getting it.
Shows the popping out to 24. Zero prior to that.
No, okay, so we had this back in 22, so it's been there for a little while, we just haven't used it. I think that was the money that we used for the initial, strategic plan of Club Manor that led ultimately to the Club Manor corridor, project. So it is supposed to be planning. Miscellaneous strategic planning. But there's not a specific project in mind? Anything else on the streets?
Got the CIP items,
Oh,
if
yeah.
y'all are ready to go through that, so. I'll move along to machinery and equipment, of course, this was a $3,700, this is part of the diagnostic machine that.
Yeah, we can skip those two.
Yep, skip those two, and then we'll go to, vehicle capital, vehicles capital, $67,000 for 2006 Ford F-350. And this is all the upfitting and all that, and there will be a trade-in. If you look off to the side there is a 2017 Dodge Ram that, we will be happy to get rid of this trade-in. And after the trade-in cost of $20,000, the remaining balance will be $47,000. So, yeah, that truck needs to go. Vehicle capital, the next one down. So these are, 231,500. These are, Freightliners. These are gonna be dump trucks with 14 cubic yard beds. These will have, auxiliary hydraulics for, street repair attachments. They'll be equipped out with the snow and ice removal, the blades. You can swap or put the sanders in the back. The Sterlings that we have, they're aging, got lots of wear on them, and that last big snow we had a year or two ago, we had all but one running throughout that whole event. So we were struggling, and these will be replacing them, and I've got, there's some trade-in items for these trucks. And James, correct me if I'm wrong, so the trade-ins, it's gonna be the Champion Grader, 17,500, the International, 4,000 trade-in, the F-800 bucket truck. This is our old bucket truck that got replaced by the new one that we got a year or two ago. The F-700, the jet truck, the Mack tanker, and then the price after the trade-ins for that 231,500. The leftover price after trade-ins will be $199,500.
Mike, how confident are you in those trade-in values?
So I'm confident on them, on everything. I thought the Champion Grader would bring more. I would have liked to got more out of that, but that is going.
I guess what I'm saying, they've already given you a price on them?
Yes, so
Okay.
James has got, as a matter of fact, you've got details with you, don't you?
Yes, that,
I can, and the reason that I'm asking is, we can lower the amount of money needed by the trade-in value. So for example, if you're budgeting 231.5 for a vehicle, that after trade-in we're only paying 199.5, we only need to budget 200,000 for that.
Correct, yeah.
Okay.
Yep. And
No more CIP items, just delete the rest.
say again?
Just delete the other CIP items.
You hit the 15 minutes.
Flag, ready to go.
The last several capital items in there are like the infrastructure for overlays, street striping, the drainage, path improvements, and active transportation are just the sums that we have in there all the time, with the exception of the infrastructure, the overlays and sealing has fluctuated between 400,000 and 800,000 the last several years. I bumped it from 400 to 500,000. Any questions, comments, concerns, discussion on streets?
Thank you, Mike.
Sanitation?
Yes, sir.
Oh, one more.
Yep, one more.
Sanitation's page 29 and 30.
The pain's not over yet. All right, sanitation, tipping fees, there was a $2,000 increase. From 24,263 to 26,263. Building maintenance, there was a decrease, $2,190. Vehicle maintenance, $10,000 increase just due to parts and labor and service. Seminar registration, $500 decrease from 500 to 0. Excuse me. Printing increase of $250 from 1,500 to 1,750. Small tools, there was a decrease, $2,566. Yeah, and that was the AC machine, getting to decrease that, because, let's see, the carts, $15,000 increase, from 55,000 to 65,000. Anytime petroleum goes up, plastic goes up, so go through a lot of carts and bins.
And y'all were mentioning just with the more residences.
Yep, new subdivisions going in and yep, wheel and lid repairs, so it's, yep, definitely needs to be increased. Gas, fuel, and oil, a decrease of 10,000. Equipment rentals, this is an increase of 15,000. With issues, let's see, that the sanitation trucks are going down. We have a company that we're set up with that I know a roll-off truck. We've only got one of them. We got in a situation, we almost had to go to Memphis and rent one, and they're $14,000 a month. So if we got a month's worth of use, if we have to rent one and it goes down, because anytime they go down, it's nothing to be in the shop for a month or two, sometimes longer, 3. And then, let's see, the CIP items, this is a $45,000 request for a roof. So the old public works facility, which is animal services, they got half of their roof put on. Public works needs to put the other half on to split the cost. And we're trying to make that other half into sanitation only shop facility to work on garbage trucks. So hopefully we'll be able to streamline other city vehicles at public works where we're at now. So hopefully splitting this up, getting a new roof on it. We've done a lot to it this year that's we were able to do in-house, and hopefully we can make this come together over the next year or two. Yeah, I'm not gonna go over the next two because that's the split between the machine, or the diagnostics machine and AC machine.
Question. Okay, so you're gonna move the sanitation trucks into the building with the animal shelter, where you just told us you have insect problems when you work on them, and then you have to come and spray poison in there to kill the insects.
Well, we probably wouldn't spray poison in down there, and usually that don't happen very often, but, that's not a good idea by any means. So I don't think we'll be doing that down
Just
there.
want to hear you say it.
Yeah, no, that's, I think Chris might, buck up on that toward, anything happening. So no, that definitely won't be happening.
Okay.
And then, let's see, that was it, I believe, yeah, no CIP items on sanitation, other than the AC machine and the roof.
Questions on sanitation?
You said you took the seminar out, no more training, anything, or that line item was just, you had a seminar, the little seminar registration? Took $500 on that.
Yeah, so we got a line item for training for like sanitation license and stuff. This is just for, extra money for if some of our guys wanna go to seminars for extra training.
Right.
So that was the reason for the decrease on that, because we haven't, keeping up with sanitation license is a chore of itself. So, now that we're fully staffed, I would love to start sending some of our people to get extra training, but we just hadn't been able to do it, so that was the reason for that.
Well, that's what I was asking, I was like, no more training?
Well, they still have almost $10,000 in employee training. They spent $0.25, $0.24 from the seminar registration, and $8.23.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
So,
Cheap sim, yeah.
with some of these things, they end up redundant, and I think I saw this and was just like, well, let's just start phasing out seminar registration, because whether it's employee training or seminar registration, they're probably registering for some seminars there. Also, employee training for CDL courses, so it's not all seminars. But.
So on the revenue side, we spent hours debating what the number was gonna be for sanitation, what we're gonna charge our residents. And I'll just remind again, every year, our tipping fee goes up by a certain set percent. So every year that we do not increase our charge, we're falling behind again and again. So, was it 3%?
The tipping fee
2%, 1%?
isn't the biggest cost increase,
Well,
it's just personnel cost increase.
Sure,
3%
sure.
is bigger than that.
But so even if you're just looking at tipping, whatever that was, if it's whatever that negotiated rate is, if we're not increasing our charge by 3% or whatever, we're falling behind every year. Then we're 20 years down the road going, was it so cheap?
Right, right.
So, and at this point, we like a few percent would be like the equivalent of 50 cents a bill, so.
Give me just a second, I think I have the notes that I took on that.
Is anybody else cold?
A little bit.
Nah, feels great.
No,
Don't ask that.
it feels really good, it does.
Say y'all are more layered than me.
Councilwoman Williams is cold.
If we had some Mariah Carey playing.
I know, right?
You're cold, Mr. Holt is cold.
Yeah.
I did bring Kleenex.
Yes, we do.
Councilmember Williams.
What, so she can be whining about being cold?
No, there is.
That's my fault.
And I put up my notes.
What you got there?
I got lemonade, can we get a little nade, get a little nade over here?
Here, let's pour right over Tina's stuff.
Yeah.
Happy birthday.
Right over her phone.
Right over her
Right
phone.
over her
That would be
phone.
lovely.
Where's her Louis? She got Louis?
We are a mess.
So
I'm trying to
I
get a
can't
good
find them, I looked at one point what a 5% increase would be, and I think it was $1.15, and then what I thought that would generate in revenue. And then I went down the rabbit hole of trying to determine how many people had extra carts. So we have, and I might butcher this, but I think it's something like your first cart is 23 and some change, your second cart is $5, and then subsequent carts after that are
think it's
That's
350
three-
per.
350 and then up to
350,
5?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. And so I was looking at trying to figure out if we bump that one up, since the tipping fees are the same regardless of if it's your second can or not, what that would look like. And I think Mike's supposed to be running some numbers, and I can give that to y'all to see. In other words, if we keep the fee flat for everyone else, but just increase it for the people that have 2 or more, I don't know if that's $5,000 a month, or if that's.
How many people have 2 or more, and they're like, I don't use this, and they return it, and then their revenue's
Yeah.
gone.
Appreciate that clarification, because I didn't know where you were going with the counts. I'll give you
Oh, now that you know?
now that I
tell
know,
me.
I'll give you better than a rough estimate, because that's worth looking into. And it'll take a little bit of time, so, yep.
I like the idea of the $1.50 increase. I mean, if it's just 5%, that's.
I think it was $1.15. I couldn't
So my
remember.
bill had $23.13. I thought it was more than that.
That sounds about right.
Is it? Okay, that's what CAW charged me.
I pulled all the ordinances up and ran it.
I've got 23.13.
Well, no, I mean, I thought it was going to be 26.
And maybe they partially billed, I don't know what they did, but anyway.
It was supposed to be 23.
23
Yeah, no,
sounds
that's
right.
good.
Do you have 2 trash cans?
I do, but I only pay for 1.
Oh.
I have 1 trash can.
We're gonna come pick your other.
I have 1 trash can.
Yeah.
Yeah. But we had a big jump last year, and if you start doing these small percent or whatever,
It won't hurt as bad.
yeah, and I don't know if $1.50 is the right number, or,
I think it said $1.15 is what I think
$1.15.
was 5%.
We're still cheaper than surrounding cities.
And that's just for
5%'s
people
a
with.
$1.15,
And now that everybody else's water's going up.
so.
Is that for just for people with 2 trash cans?
We're
Or
not
across
out
the
of the
board?
market on water.
I'm trying to take a few notes.
How many people do we have doing the pickups on?
Resident?
Uh-huh.
I think there's about 7,000.
So 7,000 times $1.15, that's pretty easy math there.
Yeah, give or take a little bit,
Mhm.
roughly 7,000.
We don't have to solve that tonight. My point was just that we fall behind every year if we don't make incremental.
And that isn't something, just that y'all know, it wouldn't be done as part of the budget. We'd account for it, but that would be a
Yeah.
separate ordinance or resolution, whichever it is.
Thank you for this. It was very detailed. There was a lot of work you put into it.
I got an active
Think that-
water though.
Thank
He's-
you for that.
Yeah, James.
Great
Good job, James.
No, he's very meticulous
Yeah.
and he made it easy.
I like the notes
Yep.
pages too.
I was in OpenGov and I looked and I'm like, it's closed, so they can't be editing it. And I'm like, is James in here looking at this?
Yeah, we were trying to keep up with, with you.
Any other questions for Mike?
We have all of those,
Okay, thank you, sir.
for sanitation.
Thank you.
James, I need one of those for council.
Next up is fire department.
Are we gonna have Legos this year?
No Legos.
No!
I done said if you brought Legos, I was gonna bring some dogs and cats up.
Now, that would make budget
See,
so
see?
much better.
I would have given you whatever you wanted.
Totally. Next year, you're on the clock, man. Bring
I
the
done
dogs.
said, bring Legos, I'm gonna go get some.
Fire department is page 15 and 16.
Hey, hey, hey.
That's fine. I know you know where to find me.
Thank you, Bo. I don't need this. I do.
It's just, she can't make either one of these.
Chief, you're up.
You want me to go ahead and go or wait?
No. West Booker doesn't need to hear anything. You may begin.
Councilmember Grunwald went to the bathroom.
We'll wait for Christine.
You're on your clock.
Okay. Go.
So, good evening, everybody. I know I've been threatened on time, so I'm gonna go as fast as I can. But, what I did, I put together our requests, and then looking at what the mayor sent out also. I'm doing mine a little bit backwards than Mike. I started with the capital first. So if you look, on our page 1, I'm only gonna cover a couple of these, because some of them are already built in, but one of our biggest requests in the capital is we have 2 staff cars that are used for travel when we send people to school. They're also used in, when we have severe weather, those are the vehicles we use, and we don't run the fire trucks unless it's absolutely necessary. Both of those vehicles, one of them has almost 200,000 miles on it, and the other one was wrecked and was never replaced prior to me arriving, so it's on its last legs also. And so we're asking to replace those 2 cars. And what would happen, we would replace the 2 fire marshal cars, and then those 2 fire marshal cars would be the ones that would go into service as the staff cars. The fire marshal's, his vehicle also has over 100,000 miles on it too, so. The one vehicle that I'm trying to replace, they both have, one has 200,000 miles, the other has 120,000 miles, but the 120,000, the transmission's been replaced. It has a knock in it. I have one firefighter that is a diesel mechanic, and we've repaired it ourselves probably a couple times. They need to go. I really don't feel safe putting anybody in them, so that is the big request for the vehicles. The other thing is, we've discovered, I sent somebody to training, we have discovered how to take the radios out ourselves, so we'll be taking the radios out of the staff cars, so there'll be no cost for radios. We're gonna take them out ourselves, install them ourselves to save money. So part of it, we've had the vehicles running by our own firefighters doing the mechanic work, and then we're saving on the radios by me sending somebody to training to learn how to pull the radios out, and we can do that also. I have a fantastic battalion chief that does a lot of our vehicle maintenance stuff. I couldn't even do this without him, and he knows how to do a lot of this stuff, so he is a godsend for us. The second one we have in the CIP, looks like the mayor's already taken it out. It was a microwave system that was part of the PSAP. It was something that North Little Rock was asking for, but it looks like the mayor removed it, so I'll just go past that one. So the third request, I had in there to do some architect engineer stuff, and that was based on to prepare for the bond issue. What it was going to do, it was going to be an allowance to do some renderings for what a fire station 3 would look like. I was going to do some soil samples on some potential sites to see what the water tables in the soil came back on some phase 1 stuff. But it looks like that might have been removed. That's a want to have, it's not a have to have. So that was a request. Request number 4, overhead door. We spent over $15,000 out of our building maintenance on our overhead door motors. Part of what I inherited was both fire stations have an overhead door motor called Rainer. It's a company out of France, so when they were installed, it was a company in France that they bought the boxes from. You can't get parts for them anymore. And so we piecemealed together, this year I've replaced 4 of them. I've got 2 more that we have wired by what we can do to get them running. And I'm asking for this so we can go in and replace 3 of them. And then next year I'm going to ask to replace the other 3. So 3 of them are kind of iffy right now, and then I'm hoping next year we'll just go ahead and replace the other 3, and then we'll actually be able to have somebody come out and work on them. The request number 6 is we have some furniture that's in Fire Station 1 that's broken furniture, recliners and things. We've piecemealed them together. We replaced some of the furniture that was at the other fire station. We stole the parts off of those, and we kind of built back some of the furniture in the other one. And so what this would do, it would replace some of the chairs and recliners in there for the firefighters. When the older ones were purchased about 10 years ago, they put this nice fire department stitch in the middle of them, and now in all those chairs where that stitch was, it's just ruined. So that would replace that. And then the last request 7 was we made, and Tina can probably speak on this a little bit. One of the things that happened during the year this year, AT&T changed our rates, and so our phone bills went sky high. So we made the decision to change out our AT&T phones at Fire Station 1 and went to a service called Netcom, and it reduced our bill some. But the AT&T charge is still going to keep our telephone cost up high, which you'll see when we go to the lines. But the phone request was to change out the phones at Fire Station 2 to be able to switch them over to Netcom. And then request 8 has already been taken care of. We were able to move some money over and increase the access points. If there's no questions on capital, I'll move on to the operational.
Did you take the phones out too?
If they're not in there.
Yes, yes, ma'am. Looking at page 6, the operational lines overview, this is a breakdown, and then it goes further into the what the requests were. So just looking, the big item, the one I'll spend time on the most, our vehicle maintenance. And I put at the very back, when we get to it, there's an Appendix A. We spent a total for this year so far $79,602 in vehicle maintenance, and my budget was $39,000. So I've moved over money from every other place to cover the expenses. And we also we have a fund that we get from the states called 833 that every fire department gets. That's not part of the budget that the city gives us, but I've depleted that pretty much also. I took almost $20,000 out of that, and I zeroed out our education and some of the others to be able to cover the cost. One of the biggest reasons for the cost, and if you go to page 8, on the vehicle maintenance, it's twofold. One is the labor cost has gone up. When we send our vehicles, if we can't, we try to do everything we can in-house. Like I said, I have 2 guys that are fantastic, and they do a fantastic job for us. But when we have to send it out to Siddons Martin and Conway, it's $200 an hour for labor. $200. Just like Mike was saying, when they have a fire truck, it takes hours and hours to fix it. So our bills are very, very high, and you have electronic sensors and things on them. You have to have a certification to change these sensors, and we cannot do it because we don't have the certifications. The other problem is the tower truck that we have is a Sutphen tower truck. The Sutphen plant is in Ohio. Nobody in Arkansas has a Sutphen truck except one other department, and so when the truck breaks down, it's very difficult to get parts, and the place where we send it to can't work on them. So they have to call the plant in Ohio to get the plans and things, and then get the parts. And so when something goes wrong with that tower truck, it is expensive. One of the things I'm trying to do, my one diesel mechanic that I have, I talked to him this year, and he's willing to go to school. I'm going to send him to as many schools as I can to try to get some of these certifications so we can do some of the in-house stuff on our own. I don't know how much that's going to impact it, but I am trying to do it because the vehicle maintenance it's a lot for these fire trucks. Going forward, I will say I will never buy a Sutphen piece of equipment. We're only going to buy fire trucks and things that can be serviced in the local area. And then the other big cost for us is the phones and the telephone line, and that was because of the change moving us over. It was not my choice. AT&T made us basically change over, so I think all the departments are going to have an increase in the telephone.
Also, in the telephone line item in operating is where I moved the $4,200 in phones.
Yeah, so it covered that, yes. Gotcha. I did make a mistake. I actually, Chief Eaton, my fire marshal, came to me and he wanted to flip his fire prevention materials and investigative materials. He just said we spend more in fire prevention and less in investigative. I flipped them and I accidentally shorted him by $800, and so I'm asking to put that back in. It was an actual mistake I made when I audited that. So what was only supposed to happen, it wasn't supposed to be an increase or decrease, it was just supposed to be a flip, because we do a lot of fire prevention, and so it did get shorted, and that was a mistake I made, and it was locked before I could go back and change it. So I did want to make sure I talked about that. The last line I'll talk about is the dispatching services line. This is one also that we don't have a lot of control over. Myself and Chief Pickard have to budget for this because it goes to the PSAP. We've had a discussion with the mayor on, my belief is we need to audit the actuals that we're getting billed for so that we make sure that we're actually being billed accurately. And that's something that we're going to talk to, myself and Chief are going to talk to the mayor about tomorrow, probably with the 911 board. Moving on, page 11, there is one personnel, there's a couple, but there's really only one that I'm going to ask for, a personnel request. I know we're not doing them. One thing that did happen this November, when the government shutdown happened, I did have a firefighter that's been gone for 3.5 years. He's never worked since I've been here for the Army. And he decided when the government shutdown came and he wasn't getting paid, he wanted to come back. And I budgeted for 2025. He's back. We covered 2025, but now I have to budget for him. It's a twofold type thing. I wanted a training captain position, so right now he's acting in that role, and we covered it for 2025. He's also informed me that he has accepted a school slot in physician assistant school for the Army in August, so he will be with us potentially from now till August, but there is the possibility that he will get put back on orders back at Camp Robinson, and he might leave us before then. I did talk to him about this. If he leaves us again, he will. I told him that I would ask for his resignation if he left us again. He has agreed to do that. So if he leaves before he goes to the school, he would resign and he would give me his resignation. So was not expecting that. Did not anticipate him coming back. I knew he was going to go to school, but the government shutdown happened and he came back. And so I'm asking to fund this at least potentially till August.
If I can speak to that, I said there was no new positions in the budget added. This is kind of a little bit of an asterisk, right? So even on military orders, we have to protect that job. We've held that job open for years. Or we'd add 2 new firefighters and agree not to hire them until such time as if the other person came back, we'd get it. And then just kind of last minute and unexpectedly, he decided to come back. So we've got to fill that position and fill it at least until he's gone. So that would be sort of just our requirement. The next step is whether to leave that captain position. And prior to knowing that this firefighter was coming back, Chief Buford's been asking for a training captain, I think he brought it up last year,
yes,
or another admin level captain. And I kind of smirked when he pointed out that the guy was coming back and we had to create that position because for budget purposes we now have kind of that new position there. The question is whether to terminate this position when this individual leaves or to create that training admin captain position. I can say that I'm wholly supportive of the position as I've been doing skip level meetings and heard not just from Chief Buford but basically everyone that reports to him the need for another more help in the administrative office from someone that's at that level. So this position, which is the last position in the budget on page 50, you'll notice it down there at the bottom. It just says fire captain. So that's the only new position built in. It's weird to call it new because it's existing, but it's a new slot. It's an additional firefighter than the fire department had.
I do believe it's in the justification. I'm not going to go over that. You can read it if you'd like to. But when we're still waiting, and I check it probably every 2 weeks on this grant for the fire and police training facility. When we go full force into building that, one of the projects that this person would be working on is the overseeing of that project. So,
would a new person potentially in August come in at the same salary, or would it be at a lower salary? Well, you'd promote from within.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So that would kind of be the base going forward?
Yes.
Okay.
Where is it?
Well, yeah,
Page
that's it. That person's at step D.
D. You wouldn't hire somebody at step D, would you?
No, but it would move up. But the So there would be a cost savings for a little bit, yes, because of all the incentive pays and everything else, the longevity and everything else. Yes, there would be a cost savings to that, yes.
But not substantial. You wouldn't.
I see office administrative, that's not what you're calling it.
Fire, right below it.
Fire, okay, okay.
The other one that I had in here, and the only reason I even put it in here was, I did talk about it last year, the technical support specialist. What I'm gonna do is this year, I'm trying to get pricing and things like that. I would like to get this position in 2027, but what I'm doing is, there is different things that fire departments can do, fit testing, filling fire extinguisher and things like that. So I'm gonna do a cost analysis of this, and I think I can put together a package that I could pay for this position in 2027 by revenue generated. But I just put it in there so that you could be aware of what it would do.
You were talking about fire extinguisher filling. Any thoughts about maybe offering a service to the public where they can bring in their
Possibly.
home fire extinguishers to get it filled, even for a
Possibly.
fee?
Possibly.
That way we can make it into a generative, positive income flow.
Yes, sir.
And I think it'd be a great service to offer to the community. Like if you got your home fire extinguisher, you can take it into the fire station, have it checked, and if it needs to be filled, then pay a fee and get it filled
Yes,
back
sir.
up. I think it'd be great to help prevent fires and, you know, cause right now, it's like businesses have to do that every year. But you got a certain service that you have to use, they have to inspect them and this and that. And then, of course, you know, the fire marshal will come around, and if you don't have your ticket punched right with the right dates, you get in a lot of trouble. But, you know, but there's nothing like that for the homes. And so to encourage people to have a good fire extinguisher at home, and also make it where they can make sure they're filled. Because people would buy a fire extinguisher, 20 years later, it's not working, you know.
Oh, you're supposed to fill those things up?
Yeah, you gotta recharge them.
Okay.
The very last thing, and I'll be done, is I was informed, my right-hand person, Cindy, who has basically been with the fire department since it split from public safety, she told me she's gonna retire in December of next year. She is not replaceable at all. I don't know what I'm going to do if that happens. I'm trying to convince her to not go. But if she does indeed go, I would ask that maybe we could bring somebody in mid-year to train with her so that we don't lose everything. She does some things, I don't even know how she does them. And she knows like where the keys where things are and everything else. It would be the equivalent of Chief Pickard losing his person, Melody, I think.
Melody.
If he lost her, I'm sure he would be crying less like I am right now. She is not replaceable. She is means more to me. She's just not replaceable. But if she does indeed try to leave, I'm gonna try my best to not get her to leave. But if it's her time, I would ask that maybe we could bring somebody in mid-year to train. That's it. I hope did I hit my time?
Are we still, we're a level 2 fire department, right?
Yes, sir. So I can tell you that also. We went through our evaluation last year, and we will receive our results in March of 2026. I got to see. I have a good friend that's. He let me see what our results are going to be. We will remain a Class 2 by the skin of our teeth. Yes.
Are we, for the issues that we're having with automobiles and personnel and et cetera, are all fire departments having the same problem, or is that just us locally?
Oh, no, sir. No, sir. So, just across the street, I can tell you in North Little Rock, they had 7 vehicles, I believe, that were damaged or wrecked. And so their budget is it's quadruple ours, and they're going through it just as fast. It's pretty much, and the services and the labor, what a lot of fire departments are doing, they're trying to find somebody who can work on them. We're the only, in the metro, we're the only department that didn't have our own mechanic. And if we had our own mechanic, we could do stuff, but it's just not cost effective for the city.
For our coming year budget are we looking to be able to take care of some of these things that he's told us, or are we still struggling?
I mean, we increased the maintenance budget, right?
Yes, we did. We got it, the mayor put, there's a 12,000, that was the one I asked for, and it's built in there right now if you all choose to accept it. what I was trying to do, the 833 money, I'm trying to build it up. I inherited $0, and so I built it up. That is basically our emergency fund that we can use, but it has to be used for specific things by law, and it gets audited. This year, I had to gut it because of the vehicle expenses, and we also had a $10,000 building expense that I didn't use city funds for. I took it out of the 833 money to recalibrate our HVAC system. If it wasn't for that fund, we would have been hurting really bad. But I do not want to come before the city council and ask for money if we can handle things internally. We will be as financially responsible as we possibly can. Everything that we can turn over to try to make the dollar stretch, we will, so that we don't have to put an extra burden on the city.
Thanks, sir.
So I have a question, since you said insurance question, and I have,
Yes,
we're
sir.
talking about the class 2. I know it probably, I think it's fire hydrants and stations
Yes.
or whatever, but to go to a class 1, I mean, are we even, we're
No,
not
sir.
even
We don't
close
have
to
the,
that?
we don't have the number of firefighters. And so right now, we were gonna be a class 3. And so I signed an agreement with North Little Rock, that got us up to a 2. There was 2 things that we had to do. One is we have to do quarterly training with North Little Rock. That gave us a bump in training. And then we have automatic aid with North Little Rock. Because we only have 2 fire trucks and the aerial truck, if we have a fire, North Little Rock automatically dispatches their engine 4 to us. When we have Fire Station 3, we won't need that anymore. We will have our own ability to do our own stuff. It will raise our ISO rating up. The other thing that we're going to get 3 to 4 points with when we build this training facility, we're going to gain points for that also. We're losing points because we don't have a place to train right now. So those 2 things will help us. The other thing that's about to happen is insurance raters are about to use a formula that's called PPX, and PPX goes between 80 and 90. We don't know what that's going to look like right now, but it's going to give you a little bit better rate if you can go even higher than the 80. And so once those rules come out, I'm going to try to see what we can leverage. But the training facility will help us. Fire Station 3, I know it's not great because we don't have a lot of business in that area, but it automatically helps us with the ISO points because we get the 3rd fire truck. And right now, North Little Rock is very gracious. We do the same thing. If they have a fire, in fact, they had a fire in one of the apartments in North Little Rock. Our aerial truck was the first one in, and we were the first ones that put water on their structure. So, very proud of the firefighters we have.
You see that little smile? He just,
Oh, I got a picture of it too. My training chief, Chief Cossey, took a picture of it, sent it to me, and I, of course, the next time I saw Chief Tucker, who was my boss, I said, that's a beautiful picture there, a Maumelle fire truck right there. But it's a reciprocal relationship. But I would like for us to be able to stand on our own.
Now, when we do get that 3rd
Yes,
station
sir.
and get it up and running, how close will that get us to a level 1?
It would probably put us midway in between. The big thing that we're not going to be able to overcome for a little while is the personnel. Now, once
Another
that's,
couple $1 million a year and we got it.
level 1 is tough. And
Yes.
it's almost not worth it.
I don't
say
think
it's not, it's worth it,
I don't
but
think I don't think it's in the cards for us
No.
just because. But the PPX might be because just going up from an 80 to possibly an 85, 86 might be some savings, but we just don't know what it's going to look like yet.
Well, that makes a difference for everybody,
Yes, sir.
homeowners,
Yes.
whatever, as far as insurance, that makes a lot of a
Yes,
difference.
sir. And I was very thankful we were able to stay the 2. I'm very thankful to Chief Tucker and North Little Rock. But we helped them out too. So I think that our reputation of the firefighters that we have is very, very high. So we get called for a lot of things that when somebody's having trouble, they don't hesitate to call us, and we go and help. I think our firefighters are the best, as good as anybody in the state.
Thank you for that.
Anything else with fire? Thank you, Chief.
Yes, sir. Thanks, Chief.
Thanks, sir.
And I didn't do Legos.
I watch Chicago Fire, so I know everything that's going on. Fire, PD, all of them, I know everything.
Next up is animal control. They're on pages 17 and 18. And just for everyone's knowledge, the order that I go in is with whatever the department heads that were able and scheduled for the night. Whoever's been in the department head position first goes first. So it's not
that's
that
why
I,
I'm last.
that's why you're last. So,
Seniority.
in fact, I had to double check for
That's
next
fair.
meeting because I was like, I can't remember which took, office first, so. I don't know that I even told the department heads that, but it just goes by in sort of seniority and position, so. I just don't want Chris to think that I don't like him, which is why I'm always putting him
Oh,
up.
we love Chris.
So next year he'll know, just show up an hour late and he's good.
Right?
We missed that.
So again, animal control, pages 17 and 18. Chris, the floor is yours.
Yes, sir. I'm just gonna do a little year in review real quick. This is pretty much the first year we've taken in less animals than we have ever before. We've taken in actually a decrease of almost 400 animals
Wow.
from last year. So,
Why?
that is officers, making sure that the people are residents from the city of Maumelle, watching the stray counts, patrolling more often, stuff like that. So, yeah.
That's awesome.
And, our stray intakes actually has decreased too, with people actually abiding by the rules and everything like that. We've done 39 different adoption events on Saturdays in the year of 2025. We went all to most of the parks in Maumelle on Saturday mornings. We've done Scooter's Coffee Shop, 7 Brew. We've done a couple events at the Cal's Library. We're doing one this Saturday at Cal's. We went all the way to Searcy, BB, Bryant, Benton, all their different pet scents, Petco's, wherever somebody would like for us to do an adoption event, we were there. We do monthly adoption events at the North Little Rock Maumelle Pet Scents. We have a arrangement with them on Saturdays, the third Saturday of the month. And we do also bring in other North Little Rock, Cabot, and other shelters to participate in that. We do a Pups for Senior program. That's we started that out in 2024, just a test run, and then it's grown where the Lake of Maumelle, which is one of our nursing rehab centers, we do that twice a month. And then we started going to the senior center, Center on the Lake. We do that weekly, usually on Tuesdays. Everything's pretty much been maintaining. At large is still around 200, 250 reports been made. Bite cases have went down a little bit this year, just by 4. That's been reported to us. We are still averaging and maintaining a 94% save rate, live release rate. We usually keep about 94, 96 for the last 5 years. We are in a older building. I have mentioned this, maybe next time we have a bond issue, maybe the shelter will be on it. So that will be one of the agendas that hopefully in the next 5 to 10 years that we could possibly move out. As you kind of heard, Mike is taking over the bays of our building to do their sanitation trucks and stuff. There will be a petition wall between the buildings and stuff, but they will have that side of the building. Little kind of iffy on how that works, because I am kind of a clean freak and want things to smell good, and trash trucks are going to be coming and going.
Can we stop there for just a second? Because
Yeah.
that really bothers me too. So the bays that are there now, what's in the bays right now?
The first bay is animal services. We kind of split the building in half because we were under public works.
Yeah.
And so when animal services became their own department, we split the building in half.
Mhm.
So the first bay door and stuff is animal services.
Everything to the left.
Yes.
Yeah.
And then there are two bays technically. One bay door from you can see on the front end,
Mhm.
2 on the back. That's just a plain. It's just an open space right now.
Yeah.
It used to.
And y'all use that for like supplies and stuff
We
like
didn't.
that?
We never used it.
Oh,
Public
okay.
Works kept that because we were under them. They used it for their street stuff, their the salt and ice and stuff like that, their signage, street lights and stuff like that in that building. That straight grader used to park in there.
Mhm.
So Mike's pretty much cleaned all that out, and so it's just a big open spot. They plan on putting, I guess, some sort of mechanical stuff to work on the trash trucks there. But they are putting up
I'm
a
not
petition
okay
wall.
with that.
You said it'd be divided though?
Yes.
Partition, so like it'll be completely separated then?
I'm not okay with that.
Correct. It'll be under the same roof, Yeah, that makes sense, but there will be a separation of a
I
wall.
wanna see how airtight that wall is.
Well, it's not
Because
even
it's a
about,
steel building.
I mean,
And
that's
fumes
secondary
will go
to
through
my,
any opening you've got, whether
yeah,
it's
that's
gas
secondary to
fumes,
my concern.
toxins of any kind.
And that's a big one.
Yeah.
That's a big one, but that's secondary to my concern. I could bring up what I have heard over the years from various people that somewhere along the line, previous mayors made promises that the whole building was animal services. But we won't.
Yeah,
That's old news. But I guess I don't, all the buildings that Public Works has, I don't understand why there's a need for so much more room.
Well, even if they need it, why are the garbage trucks there?
Right.
You know, if it was storage before, and we have other equipment that, you know, when you go to the reclamation center, there's equipment that sits there 10 to 12 months out, 10 to 11 months out of the year, and then it's put on a piece of equipment.
Yeah.
So why couldn't that be moved in there and then work on, you know,
Right, especially
rearrange
'cause
some things?
it sounds like that's
to
how it
work
was
on garbage
before,
trucks
that it
somewhere
was
else.
equipment, parts and equipment and things like that.
You know, I go in and there's salt distributors and things like that that sit in the same spot. Well, is there something else that could be moved there and those moved into that building? And then they can work on the garbage trucks and whatever else they move. I agree. I have an issue with it. I don't know how well they can seal it, if they're gonna be working on diesels and all the hydraulic, equipment and hydraulic fluid and the problems that comes with that.
Did you have something you were gonna say?
No, you're gonna have to poke Andrew. I think he was kinda.
You getting itchy? You have something to say?
Glazing over.
No, ma'am. No, ma'am. Well, so here's my question, I guess to you, since you're getting picked on. Does it, aside from having an outspoken opinion about it from Doug and I, is there any recourse from city council to have any sort of influence over what Public Works puts there or not?
Oh, you can propose a resolution or an ordinance.
Done.
I think we also need to understand what's actually, I don't know anything about what's
Yeah,
going on.
I think more information.
I wish
need to
these
gather
were all
more
conversations
information.
that would have been great when Mike was here.
Mike should stay.
I can't
The questions
say.
should have came up then, but they're coming up now. I can bring them back for another, because we're talking, about Chris. When Mike first proposed this, I went to Chris and asked, do you guys need this area? Would this be better served for animal services? And he said, it's always pretty much been Public Works, sanitation street area anyways.
I just don't think we know enough about
No,
this.
I mean, I agree, nothing,
to-
I'm not I don't think Doug or I are proposing anything to be done today, but just to kind
We
of.
do have more questions.
Yeah, we have more questions for sure, and we just wanna highlight that as, let's continue the conversation.
I can share that, for whatever random reason, the trash trucks, they do tend to get nests, built on their, the engine. So we often have to pay for claims for rats or animals of whatever animal chewing on, through wires and as of such. This has been continual, since I've been clerk. But this year is the first time that the damage caused by said animal, keep in mind, the young man traveled to drop off the trash, parked, was gonna do his thingy or, dump the trash or whatever. The car exploded. It literally caught on fire. And so, and it was due to, there was an animal in the car, but unbeknownst to him, and the animal did damage to the truck. It was chewing on the wires, but as he's driving, this animal was being like cooked, right? It was like really gross. And so the car literally caught on fire, and this is the first time that the claim wasn't 100% paid. So I think that's part of their want to.
So it's
Get 'em parked
storage or
inside.
is it service or what are they wanting to do? Do you know?
From what I gather, they just wanted to relocate it, park it somewhere else.
Closer to the
isn't it?
cats.
It's supposed to be
I was
just.
gonna say, it sounds like they need some,
See some win-win.
some barn cats
My
here.
understanding is it's supposed to be a service bay. It's not a storage bay. It's gonna be a service bay where the mechanics will work on the trash trucks at that facility next to animal services. And then that will free up where they can work on the other employees' vehicles and stuff down there. Instead of having
And
to
so
work.
the
But
reasoning
as far as I
is-
know of, it's a service bay.
The reasoning is that when they tear a piece down and then have to wait 6 weeks for a part to come in, what are they doing with that sanitation truck in the meantime? Is it using one of the bays that they'd be working in, or are they rolling it back out, reassembling everything to go park it back outside to get it out of the bay so they can work in other things? So by having another bay, which is their primary concern, is to get more bays to work on things so that when they're down, they're not having to rebuild it just to move it outside. They can leave it partway disassembled. And if you, the most amusing place in the world to look at that is actually if you go to Conway's, Chief Buford was talking about how long it can take to get parts for the fire trucks. If you go out to Conway where they do all the fire truck repairs, like 90% of that building is just torn down fire trucks that are sitting there and haven't been worked on in forever as they're awaiting parts. So they're just trying to get more bay space.
I got a question for you.
Yes, sir.
On miscellaneous animal control, second line, the big spike in revenue in 2024.
That is, we were taking in and charging people more per day and stuff. The charge at that time was $45. It is now $90. But at that time, we were taking in, instead of them having to go to court and pay court fees and everything, they had the option to pay at the shelter.
Okay.
For that fine or that citation, and then we found out when Andrew came along was that technically we do have to give them a citation to pay the court fines, and because it is considered a first offense.
All right, so that's why we show such a drop the next year.
Yes.
Okay. Now, I don't see anything on here, but like one of the things when we rewrote all the laws on, animal this and that, where you guys could go after people who are mistreating their animals and this and that, are there any citations being written?
Yes.
On that? Because I've heard that our animal problem as far as animals being mistreated in Maumelle has gone way down. We just don't see it like you used to. And so is that going way down? Do you see that also?
Yes.
Now, where would those fees for those citations be reflected?
Most likely in the court system.
Okay.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
We collect the surrender fees, the adoption fees, some boarding fees, but not very much boarding fees.
Gotcha. Okay, thank you.
So everything's been kind of going through courts for at-larges and city tags that they don't pay. Yeah.
Okay.
Anything else? Okay. Still have 5 officers and myself. I did request a part-time secretary. That's pretty much to help with phone calls in the morning, citizens in the morning between 8 and 10. Me and my officers were cleaning the shelter, so we can open it at 10 o'clock. Phones are ringing. We do have citizens that will say, you have banker's hours. I have to go to work. So having somebody at the front desk in the mornings so I can unlock that door at 8 o'clock. I was wanting a part-time secretary just from 8 to 12 because that's our busiest. So when we get done cleaning, my officers are usually answering voicemails, trying to catch up, put stuff in our system, so my field officers can go out there and do that. And it usually until about 11:30, 12 o'clock when we start actually getting our day settled, if that makes sense. Other than that, the biggest expense that we have is pretty much our air conditioning unit. That cost us a lot. About every 4 to 6 months, there is a belt that pretty much just comes loose after a while. So that is a big expense. That is one reason the building maintenance keeps kind of going up every $2,000 or so every year. And plus the building is getting older and stuff like that. one of the things that we've experienced this year is our dog kennels inside and outside. It's just because of age. We're having to replace a lot of parts, rusted bolts, brackets and stuff like that. So, but luckily we were able to get those in and everything else. Another thing I had on the that I had proposed was a new truck. We did get a new truck back in 2024. That's the F-250 with the slide-in unit and everything like that. That's been really really grateful and everything, because it does carry some of our officers when we're doing these adoption events. Carries the dogs and stuff. But we do have a F-150 that's just a single cab, and I have 5 officers and sometimes volunteers that we are traveling with, and we're having to use all 3 vehicles to go and stuff like that. So that does put a burden when we're in Benton or something doing an adoption event and still trying to have the shelter open on a Saturday and stuff like that.
So you asked for another truck? Or
Yes.
like a bigger, okay.
I did, but that's just a want, not necessarily like I need to have it, but that will be mentioned until I get another truck. It took me 5 years to get the 2024 one, so I can wait on that.
Keep asking, Chris.
Yes. Yes. Well, this was actually the first year that the part-time secretary actually made it all the way to the mayor's desk and to everybody else pretty much, because I had asked for it, but we were under Public Works, and so some of the stuff did not ever get relayed up higher chain. I've asked about the personnel salaries for my officers. I have 2 officers that make less than $15 an hour. I have one that's been here for 5 years. I'm trying not to cry. 15 bucks an hour is really rough for an animal control officer when they are putting their lives, getting bit, scratched, everything. I know that we did this salary study, but I don't know what it's came back to as, but 3%, I'm begging for y'all to start looking at the salaries for animal service. Not mine, theirs. So, sorry.
Thanks, Chris.
Pretty much my only CIP item that was on the agenda was it is a generator. We are splitting the cost of a generator for our building with Public Works. Public Works had a generator that they had rebuilt and everything, and they put it on the back side of our building, but in order for it to get wired into the building and stuff is a little over $14,000. So we're going to split the cost of that. So that is the CIP item that is on this proposed budget.
You had desk chairs for officers, which
Yes.
I just moved into the office.
I noticed that. If you look at the equipment 5K, I was going to keep it at 6,000. I did ask for 1,500 for office furniture. Most of our office furniture, I don't know if y'all remember, there used to be a Target distribution center. When they closed down, we got their office, their break room stuff, and most of their office furniture. So mainly this is just to replace some office chairs and an office desk. So if you ever want to see their break room, the Target break room, you can go to our break room. It's an old style Coca-Cola dining room, but I'm not replacing that, but it is just to pretty much replace 15 years, 12 years of office furniture.
Yeah, they gave stuff to the charter school.
So, everything else, there is a decrease in animal food. We do have, that is perfectly fine on that decrease. I believe we can get away with the 6,000. That is an itemized, that's about $4,000 in animal food and about $2,000 in cat litter and stuff like that. I've raised everything almost, our major items, anywhere from $500 to $1,000 or so. But do y'all have any questions?
Y'all do a great job.
Thank you.
Y'all do a
You
great
all
job.
do a fantastic job.
Chris, do you get quite a bit of food donated? And how does that work, like switching the diet of the animals?
We don't, we do get food donated. If it is the Purina kind, we use it for the shelter. If it is not, we do not. MFOA, Maumelle Friends of the Animals, is still trying to run through some money that they have. And so they do give us a Chewy gift card, about $200-300, and I sometimes buy food and cat litter and stuff from that. So I don't know how much longer that's going to last, but I send them a wish list every month, and they'll either get what's off the wish list or email me a gift card for Chewy.
On that CIP, Chris, what were you saying about that generator?
It is pretty much electrical work.
So something a new electrician could handle if we went that route?
Most likely. That would be a Mike Hogan question and stuff, but yeah, that's to run the conduit and the electric work into the animal shelter's power box. Because where they had to put it, I did not want it in the dog kennel area, so it is on the outside of the fence. So they have to run about I think it's about 15 to 20 feet of electrical work. So that did add I think about $4,000 more. But I was bound and determined saying, you're not putting it here.
That's smart.
So.
We appreciate your passion.
That's currently not hooked up.
No, it is not. It is, we do have it is on a pad, covered up and everything like that. We're just waiting for it to get hooked up.
So just to be clear, Purina dog food is what you prefer?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Future reference.
All right, thank you, Chris.
Thank you.
Next up is City Clerk, page 7.
Okay, the irony of this, I thought it was Thursday.
Oh, good, we can overrule this real quick.
So, I do apologize, I'm not sure why I thought it was Thursday. Okay.
I know, I did.
Well,
It's brand new, and I'm trying to learn how to use it.
Thank you all.
See you, Chris.
Thank you, Chris.
It's fairly simple.
okay, city clerk,
Oh, okay, right.
so,
that'll come on the
I
next
just,
then, right? I'm sorry, I didn't
I'll
know you
wait,
were sorry.
I'm just kidding.
I'm sorry.
Okay, so, had I been more prepared, guys, seriously, I would have done this a little bit differently. I wanted to, and I don't have the hard numbers, but I wanted to let you guys know what my department has accomplished last year to date. I wanted to start with some of the things that we were able to do. We'll start with IT. We started with 21 servers for the city. I was able to, and please keep in mind that for most of the year, I didn't have a staff person. We started off with 21 servers. We are now down to 6, which is huge. We started off with all of the staff having just basic software, not even Windows 10. That was accomplished 90% from my office, and we are talking, I have a folder, but I didn't bring it, but we're talking about almost 100 workstations that were upgraded. In regards to the citywide phones and functions, so what happened is most of Maumelle had copper lines, and slowly over, I'd say the past 5 to 7 years, the copper lines were were upgraded to fiber lines. And so I was able to oversee all of that happening for the city, department-wise. The last piece was the fire and the police department, but I was no longer involved at that point, so I think there was some oversight with that, so it wasn't just fire and police that had that uptick in their bill. It was across the board, and it was because AT&T basically made it to where we had to use, fiber. Also oversaw the telephone lines during that process for police and fire. And what I did is I forecasted 5 years ago where we should be in regards to software technology, things of that nature, and we are on target with that. One thing that we were able to do was to upgrade our elevators as well. I didn't realize that elevators ran on copper lines, but those were upgraded. And so what my goal is to move, not just eliminate the servers that we have eliminated, but ideally I would like to eliminate all of them in totality and go cloud-based. What that would do is that would eliminate the monthly reoccurring charges. So one of the servers that we still have is our Laserfish server, and Laserfish houses all of the city's records since the city became a city. And so what Mayor Norris's goal is to have that information accessible not only by all employees but by the public as well. So if you guys approve getting rid of that server and making things cloud-based, we'll be able to have it in such a way where you guys can easily go and look at records. You can go and easily look at what happened in 1985, just to make sure that, you know, what you are telling the public, what you're telling your constituents is right. You don't have to wait to speak to another person to get confirmation. You'll have access to that information in addition to the public having access. So the cost of that, to go cloud-based, and remember, we won't have the reoccurring costs. I don't remember what it is at this point, but I know I did the math, and it saves us money in the long run. But it's roughly, and I can provide all of this information for you. It's less than $9,000. It's that's a different quote I'm gonna bring up. It's $14,828, and that's a one-time cost. The monthly cost for this, it's minimal, but if this is something that you guys want me to pursue, I can certainly get that recurring monthly cost for you. But I know we're cutting budget, and then also what I did is made Laserfish as we have it. My citywide uses it, HR uses it, and finance uses it. But the way that it's set up now is HR has access to HR, finance has access to finance, and then the city clerk, has access to the citywide files. But if we go cloud-based, we can go ahead. Everyone can have access to them. And then if the servers, we need Wi-Fi, but that's an issue for everything. But if you're out, in the world somewhere, you will be able to access those files. If we don't have internet, then that's not an issue. So that's a change in my budget. The telephone, Mayor, am I talking about just the city clerk's budget or the other budgets I oversee?
You have to tell me. I'm not sure.
Okay,
It sounds like you've kind of been in both.
Yeah. So, just to quickly tell you guys, what I do is, so I oversaw the contracts and citywide. What the mayor has done is he's giving, and I am 100% in support of it, giving the departments themselves responsibility over maintaining their computers, maintaining their phone lines. But I already did the work, so it's just a matter of maintenance at this point. So those are things that I'm no longer going to see, and that's citywide. So when I'm talking to you guys now, I'm talking about the citywide budget, the line items that I'm responsible for, and I'm also talking about the administration budget, the line items that I am responsible for, and then I'm also talking about the city clerk specifically, the line items that I'm responsible for. With my office, the increase specifically for 413, the city clerk's budget, will be, I have requested additional training for the new deputy that I have, in addition to myself, with the reduced responsibilities. The mayor's office has taken a lot of these things, so they'll be maintaining them. So with that reduced responsibilities, we can go and continue training. I have actually 2.5, 3 years ago reached my level of master municipal clerk status. However, I never got the actual masters because I didn't want to ask for that. This year I am asking that I get that, because I did get the educational hours to achieve that. And it's valuable for the city. And so because of that continued education, I have been on the Municipal League's executive board, and how that's important for not only the city, but for City Hall as well. That's how I don't have to rely on legal or Andrew to let me know that, hey, as of July 1st, things are going to change. You have to do the reporting this type of way. I have the county contacting me, asking me for an explanation, because I continually get this training. So that is the reason for the increase in 413. There has, and also how we've been doing the licensing for the city. It has been basically an automated system, and once you do the reporting, or basically the registering for your business license, you print it out. What I would like to do this year, which is a slight increase in my budget, is I would like to mail out not a card stock, but something linen, something just a little bit more professional, so that they can have and they can hang up. I physically went to every business in Maumelle just to one look and make sure they had their business license. That was received well by the people who had it, but not so well by those who didn't. Police and code enforcement was very helpful with that. So this year I would like to send out actual certificates. If they lose that certificate, then they could always have the option of printing it out. And so those are really the main things in the clerk's office. Just, I increased the budget for additional training to stay on top of things. I was voted to be the chair, the legislative chair for the Clerks Association by the Municipal League. So I would like to continue on those efforts. Then for citywide, I would like to go cloud-based and get rid of the recurring cost of the servers. And the last thing that I would like to, that I have requested increase, everything else is the same, is the telephone systems. Just like I was over the telephone system citywide, the last piece of my forecasting is City Hall. Our phones are on their last leg. We have no more extensions to assign. So any additional staff, we have staff currently that does not have an extension. So we've exceeded the size of numbers that we could have. What I would like to do, instead of going with the traditional phones, because AT&T, they pretty much have a market on the phones, I would like to go to a cloud-based option for telephones, and I have that cost actually. And it's roughly about $8,000. It's $4,000 down, and then the total is less than $10,000. We could go with the phones that we have at City Hall. They could last another 10 years, or they can die tomorrow. But their life expectancy has been exceeded, so that is a cost that needs to be considered.
Cloud-based, so you're talking about like a voice over IP type?
We currently have VoIP because because of the fiber, we had to get the fiber.
Right.
So,
Well,
it,
kind of.
well, the phones
We're
are,
analog in the building, and then it converts to VoIP in the server room. So our phones are analog.
they're, and that's what I wanna
That's what
replace.
you, yeah, that's what you say, you said.
And it, because there's, like, the features and the functions, they don't work. I mean, there's something that's not working constantly, but they have exceeded their life expectancy.
If they're analog, they
Yeah.
Well, think about the voice over IP, if your internet goes out, your phones go out. They can go to your cell phones, but that's the only downfall.
And that's the seriousness of everything.
Yeah.
You know, if you don't have internet, we're just, you know, at a loss. But, if we don't have internet here, we might have internet somewhere else if we're outside the office. And then one thing too that I would like, but the mayor's office will probably talk about this, I would like, us to get our Wi-Fi points, our Wi-Fi access points, in a better state. Cause they're pretty much hit or miss. Any questions?
I've got one, a quick one. I actually remember us talking about this last year, because I'm still learning. So, remind me what the election fees are?
Oh, okay. We don't do that every year.
Okay.
So, because we are doing a special, so because of the general election,
Every other year, every time there's an election with Maumelle stuff on it, we pay.
Okay.
And that is, I couldn't get and then we're doing a special election too.
Right.
And that's gonna be in
So
March.
The
That's
special
included.
election is the same date as the primary,
That,
but we have to pay
In March.
additional.
I think because we don't normally have a city, well, so there was $0 in the budget originally for this year, except we had to amend it because there was a runoff election the year prior, and the
That's
bill
right.
came in this year. So that's why there's money in actual this year. Typically, we only see it,
Weston's fault.
typically, we only see it every other year, though we suspect because there's ballot issues on the primary election that they may charge us a portion, which is why it's a little bit higher than we normally put for election years.
that we,
So that 30,000 is basically for the bond issue?
No, the bulk of that is because there's elections next year.
Okay.
and we have to do that every time that there's an election here.
Every other year.
That every other year.
Every 2 years.
But it's an additional amount
Every
because
other year or every
of that
2 years?
March election, the special.
Gotcha,
It's a
okay.
little more. And so what they did, what the, commission told us to do was to account for, at the minimum, 6,000, but up to 10. The last amount we paid was like a little less than 22,000.
And that goes to the state?
Goes to the
Election
election
commission.
Election, okay.
Michael?
Yeah, I had a couple of questions. On the business license fees, where are those reflected as revenues?
I'm gonna be quite honest with you. Depending upon who our finance director is, that determines it. The mayor is actually more abreast with where they're recorded than I am. It's recorded as a negative amount, but the mayor would be better able to explain
It should
how
be
they.
slated up in the, in city clerk's office.
Yeah,
I'm
it
just now seeing it's not broken down, but
Yeah,
you'll
just got
see
the
at the
line.
top, there's a revenue line.
Okay.
And hang on, I might be able to see it broken down.
Because we had an increase this year. So, on the rates, I was gonna ask you how that went.
Well, it's significant.
Yes,
according to
I
this.
am proud to report that we are over 90% in collection rates. The actual dollar amount, I don't have that for you, and again, I really was expecting.
So the city clerk revenue consists of two different line items, $1,000 in miscellaneous revenue, and then the bulk of that, the remaining 30,000 is in business license permits. Year to date in 2025 is just shy of 29,000, and the 2 years prior, the 24 actuals were 18.2, and 23 was 21,000. So it's about a I'd guess about a 50% increase, year to date.
Okay, and do you feel it's sufficient to cover your expenses to collect it and do all the work?
No.
So you think we should probably consider maybe another increase?
I mean, that's totally up to you guys, but I will tell you, everyone, there's 500 cities. Our fees are just,
Nothing.
yeah.
Well, to be clear, I don't know that it costs more than $30,000 to administer and collect just the business license fee.
The time, it's really time, I don't have a dollar amount, but I will say, actually driving around the city, I noticed so many businesses that have never registered. So that takes time. That's not something that I turn in mileage for, you know. And then I have another staff person that needs to be trained, so it takes time to do that. I mean, I personally, actually doing the job, it wouldn't cost that much, but it depends on how we're figuring it out. Are we figuring it out salary-wise? Are we figuring it out, time-wise? Like, what are we considering? I do know that, people come to Maumelle to get licensed to work in other cities. No, I don't.
Yeah, I mean, it's so cheap, it's like, I was paying in Little Rock and North Little Rock, like $250 to do business in each city. Out here, it's $25.
Right.
So, I mean, it's just like, it's almost like too much hassle to even write out.
It's a lot
make
of
the
work
payment.
for $25.
So what if we did away with it? Would we save $28,000 in expenses and not charge any business license fees?
Well, the $25 is based on the
That's the
$25
home-based business.
is based on a home-based business.
Oh, I know, I'm just
And we have
saying,
about
I'm looking at our
117
revenue
of them.
line item. You said it's a lot of work and driving around. I'm just talking about increasing it. I'm like, well, what if you just did away with them?
Well,
Save money.
I will 100% be okay with doing away with the business license requirement for. Okay, so personally, I would like to do away with our solicitor's license, and because we have the food truck part coming, I think we should do away with the transient. The only concern that I have are the businesses that are making millions of dollars, and they're paying $100
Right,
to
yeah.
do business. Those are, I don't want to go after. I don't know how you would distinguish that if Kroger's is classified as a commercial business, but then also Target in our area is an industrial, or so Kroger's is commercial, and then we have like a massage place. They're considered commercial. So is that really fair for the $1 million place to pay the same as so that's just something you guys will consider. But I think increasing the fees for, the big boxes
So you didn't get any kind of pushback on the increase this year, did you?
not at all.
That's what I thought, yeah. I'd never heard a single word, not one person,
I did.
not a blip.
You said you did?
Yep.
You
I had
did hear,
business owners reach out to me.
and they were,
And what was the increase again?
it went
It was
from
tiny.
50,
Oh, it was
Yeah.
small.
double.
It was tiny.
I just think it's such a small thing. I don't want to.
I-
It's just such a small deal.
Well, I think it's
So.
good to have businesses registered with the city. You need to know who's running what. I mean, we don't wanna be the Wild West where somebody just opens up a business and you don't know what's going on. Next thing you know, you're having illegal and illicit activities going on in the city and nobody's any wiser.
I'd be curious if there are any other cities that don't have business
Conway
fees.
charges.
Conway doesn't.
No, they don't charge. No.
They don't charge any business.
They
They
don't
charge
charge.
$25
But they
for
have
an ice cream license.
But they have, I believe, the A&P.
Yeah.
A&P would have nothing to do with the business
Businesses.
license, though.
No, but the point I think to that is that, I mean, A&P is a lot larger, obviously, but
Yeah, yeah,
because we
AP,
don't have that
a lot more
to
money than
get rid of the
business
business fees as well. I mean, 30,000 is little, but if we start cutting.
I'm not suggesting we cut it. I just don't. It's such a minuscule.
Oh, I thought you said that we should
Well,
cut it.
Do away with it.
we were talking about all the
Yeah.
work that's involved with managing it. I'm like, well, what if we did away with it? Then it eliminates the work, and we're only making $30,000 a year. I just think it's such a small piece of our revenue line item. I don't see chasing
Well,
after
I kinda feel that,
businesses.
you know, to be honest with you, I feel the same way about our, what I think is stupid, special pickup, special trash pickup. I think that's ridiculous.
I don't know how much that.
I've used it a few times.
I've asked a
$75
couple of
and
times, like,
fill
how
up
much
a,
revenue that brings in,
pickup truck
because
with whatever you
I've
put
done
out
it
there by your
twice
curb.
now,
That was
and
a
it
great
is
deal.
the biggest cluster I've ever seen in my life. The first time I tried it, I called, got on their list, they ran by to see what my items were, and then I waited and waited with my items by the curb for 2 weeks, called them again, to find out how much it was before I could pay, before they could come pick it up. It's literally like 3 to 4 phone calls. Mike's guys have to come out at least twice. The resident has to call multiple times and then go out there to pay. I mean, if you're talking about the value of somebody's time and looking at salaries, it's ridiculous. So, I mean, to me, I feel the same way about the business fees as I do about the special pickup.
Yeah, I'm not sure I'm the worker bee, thank you guys for that, but it's totally up to you guys, but I think, I mean, there is a lot of work involved in regards to collecting that small amount of money, because people don't always pay, and then I have to remember to, and we don't charge any late fees,
No penalty.
no, there's not. And then if there is a penalty, it's $100, right? And a lot of people just pay the penalty if it comes to it. But it's very time consuming to keep track of, you know, who's paid and who's not continually. Everything is, and it's just because we have a newer system, and it's supposed to be automated, and you think there's. Councilmember Gardner called you today
Yep.
to see if the system was working, and it
I'll
wasn't.
pay my bill if you'll send it to me.
Right.
My $25 so I can
So
sit at my desk and
so-
use the internet.
to use it. So had I not had a person that I could call to see if they're getting this, I move on to the next thing, because I have fiscal responsibilities and I have other responsibilities. So I'm not sitting at my computer looking to see and make sure that I haven't gotten any bounce back. If I didn't know Councilmember Gardner, I would be under the assumption that the 277 emails that were sent out were received. Now I have to, you know, kind of figure out what's going on, so.
And you feel the same way about the solicitor license?
I feel the same, because there's just too many people that are knocking on doors that are not legally allowed to knock on doors. I think we should
I
know.
will
Reported
say,
my share in the last year.
yeah, I have too, but before I got on the council, I didn't even know we had such a thing as a solicitor's permit. And so now my husband, you know, knows this little bit of information and thinks he's smart. So anybody that comes to the door, he's like, well, my wife's on city council, do you have a permit?
Right.
And then
I don't
offers
do
them a
that.
beer.
I just call.
Yeah, but I usually let Tina know, but I will say, I feel like this year, it was drastically reduced. For whatever reason, 2024 was really bad.
They heard about your husband.
That's probably what it is.
Show
So,
up in shorts on a skateboard to try
and
to
then
sell me
if
something.
it's not helping, I mean,
It's not, if people are
If
still
it's not
gonna
a
do it.
deterrent.
It's not a deterrent. And then if we're doing the transient, like we're having the food park, how is that gonna work?
I don't
Do
know,
I
what is
send
the
out these
transient?
bills at the cost that I've always sent them out? Is it gonna be different for the food truck? So I'm thinking maybe we shouldn't have a fee for, you know, the people who actually register their business. I know a lot of people don't like to register transient with the city clerk, because I am gonna run a background check. I'm not budging on that. People don't want that done for whatever reason. That cost is borne to the applicant, and that cost has increased. It's not a flat fee, it depends upon so many variables, not based on me, it's based on a company that I use. So I mean, that's just something to consider. Do you guys want me to stop this? Or, you know, it's just, I don't want to send out bills to people for $75 if we're only gonna charge other people $25. So, you know, you guys have a lot to think about.
I do think the background check, I think, that adds a level of safety. As someone who's an assault victim, having random people come to my door,
Yes, I haven't, and this is just total transparency. I would prefer to vet anyone, whether they participate in a city event or not. I don't think you should be exempt from a background check, for, if you participate in a city event. I think, everything needs to be inspected by the fire department. I just think we need to do more checks and balances across the board. Not, well, if you're gonna be legitimate and actually do what you're supposed to do, then you can be standard. But if you just wanna, make some money for the day, we'll bypass all the rules and regulations and you can serve our community. I still think there's vetting that needs to be done. But you guys give me my charging orders and I'll do it. So I've sort of asked and I'm just moving as I normally would move. But whatever is done, that's one of the problems that I have is it's not across the board. I don't think we should be able to pick and choose, well, we're gonna run a background check on you, too, you're okay. I don't think that's right. Any more questions?
No, thank you for your.
Thank you, you guys did.
Doing all of your training and all that kind of stuff.
Oh, I did have a question about that. So you've done all the work and you've taken all these classes, but to get the master's.
You have to pay for it. You have to pay an extra.
Do you have to take an exam?
Yes, I have to pay it, yes.
You have to pay.
But
to
I already
take
took the exam, now I just have to pay for the actual.
So you've taken the exam and you've passed it.
But you get the
But you gotta pay for your flat.
Certificate, which
Oh,
is
well, for heaven's sake.
$300, I think it's $600 now. And I did, but I'm constantly learning because the laws are constantly changing.
Yeah.
So, yeah,
That's important.
I've already took the.
But you've earned it.
I have earned
That's pretty
it. I'm really proud of it. But, so this year I would like to actually put it on the wall.
Wow.
So sick.
So,
Yes, congratulations.
thank you guys for your time and consideration. And if you have any questions, I'll be happy to answer them. And this is in regards to citywide admin or city clerk. Thank you for not turning the timer on there.
I never thought the clerk's office would take that long, so I didn't think it was worthwhile. City council's on page 6.
Those guys are trouble.
What's that?
I said, those guys are trouble.
Salaries are what the salaries are. Wait a minute.
We increased the, I forgot, you guys, I take care of y'all's
Write down
stuff
council
too.
member salary.
And I just increased the travel a little, collectively, increased the travel a little bit. And, what else did we do, Mayor Norris? I think that was it.
And are we going to DC we kind of have gotten into like a every other year kind of thing.
Yeah, that's what I've been doing.
That's kind of what I thought too, so skip this year. I mean, that's fine with me.
Well, there's money budgeted,
Yeah,
but
I know that.
you guys know, like, the flights are more, like, everything is more. Oh, and then I'm pretty sure increase the budget for pictures, because we do need to do pictures.
It's almost $1,000.
Okay, so anything else on city council? Okay, citywide services, what?
Office supplies, is that too high? Do we need to?
Yeah.
Okay, citywide services.
Going down citywide services, citywide 2025 adopted. So going through this, the biggest chunk on here is the professional other, which has $225,000 for the strategic plan. The cost of a full plan is significantly more than that, but we have a good solid working draft through Metro Plan of the Planning and Studies Report, which is the bulk of the data and background information that is used when folks come in to build the comprehensive plan or strategic plan. The last one done was in 2012 and finalized in 2013. So it's been about 12 years since that has happened, and there's been a lot of differences. This is something that's popped up multiple times recently. It goes in operating, but it's really a one-time expense. So just something to think about. That process, if the council wants to fund that, is a fairly exhaustive process. The planning studies report gives us all the data. Then the comp plan is the part that says, okay, this is where you are, this is what you know consist of, and now where do we want to go? So for those that were involved in the last one, there are numerous public hearings. It's a very involved process, and we get a better plan if we can get more interaction and feedback from a variety of folks and not just the same people or a very small group of people, because it'll appear to be that they represent a bigger demographic than they may. So just food for thought there. The other bigger changes is software licensing is going up about $4,000. That is just, I don't think that's adding any new services. It's just all the services we have with their sort of annual increases. I've got to take a look at, and we have a note down for computer maintenance, because it shows that we're spending significantly less by about $70,000 in 2026. So that doesn't sound right, but I want to look at that. Liability insurance has gone down pretty hefty. I can let Tina speak to that, or we can also just double check those numbers.
It's not, I'm gonna need like at least $100,000 additional. 75 to 100, that's not even, that's for our vehicles and property?
This is the number that you gave me?
It didn't include the vehicle.
Anyways, so, the liability, that's the liability insurance line, we'll take a look at that. And election fees were the bigger changes there. No capital out of citywide. Most everything is the same. Questions, comments, concerns?
Our insurance did increase, which is why I'm going to give the mayor, I'm going to request additional funds to, for that line item. And then also, if you guys didn't know, we have hit and runs. I mean, I can't tell you how many times we've paid for that light pole at Odom and Maumelle Boulevard.
Oh gosh, it's always.
I mean, so those type of things, when we, just the hit and runs. Also with the roundabout and the pickleball. So what I do is I have like a list. This is a list of all of our city property. And so we get an estimate from the municipal league. But the pickleball courts, I need to add that. I'm sure you guys want that covered. And I need to add,
Farmer's market food truck.
well,
Okay,
yes,
farm.
we are gonna need to add, and I've thought about that, the
Yeah.
farmer's truck or food truck. But I wanna wait till actual citizens are on it before, just to kinda get a, feel for where we are budget-wise.
Yeah.
And then, also, it will be an additional cost, so we'll have that expense. And, that fence on Maumelle Boulevard, do you guys want that fixed? It's about 35,000 just for that piece, and that.
Personally, I've never understood why that fence was there.
Same.
That
Where
fence
exactly?
has to be there.
Where exactly?
Along
Pedestrian
the
trail.
boulevard.
Why does it have to be there?
Because it's in the right of way,
Palmer.
it's a pedestrian fence, so it's supposed to prevent like pedestrians from accidentally falling into a state highway. And those really shouldn't be insurance line items, other than we were seeking insurance on that. So we shouldn't be paying out of insurance for.
Not that one, I was just giving an example.
Okay, I thought we were talking about the
The hit
insurance,
and
my
run.
bad.
That was the hit and runs of the signs, and then me just asking about that particular fence. That fence we should not be responsible for. It was a hit and run. It actually resulted in a fatality.
Oh.
So, just to be,
I don't think it was a hit and run.
well, he died. There was a car
A
accident.
hit and die?
Well, okay, he didn't.
Um.
He didn't die. He didn't run, but it was
Not very far.
caused by another person.
That's-
You guys are sleepy.
No,
It was-
we're very
okay,
aware.
Yeah, I
so
know,
it was
I
very-
think somebody died, that wakes me up.
Okay, so we had
Yeah,
an
he'll be full
incident.
throttle, rear-ended me,
We had an
and
incident.
I'm knocking through a whole bunch of trees and this and that, and I'm sitting over there like, well, okay, what, check our parts moved, and I see him come to a screeching halt, look over, sees that I'm not moving, and he burns rubber out of there. But he didn't get very far because he didn't have any radiator. His whole front end of his car was gone. He got to the next hill and that was it.
Sorry that happened, that's so scary.
Yeah, but he ate the steering wheel, so the police got up
Yeah.
with him at the hospital.
I just never understood why we have a metal fence.
No insurance.
6 inches away from
Lost
a
his
state
driver's
highway.
license for previous
Yeah, it's for
DWIs.
pedestrians.
So we're
But-
legally required to have that.
You know, it's a good question. It was required when it was built to be put in because we're too close to the state highway, and there was grants, and so you were using federal money to put a walkway too close to a state highway, with speeds in that area. So
Yeah.
you had to protect if an elderly person trips and falls, that they don't fall in there. It's not a fence for vehicles, it's a fence for pedestrians.
Well, no, I mean, I just,
Yeah.
I do, because the state has all these regulations, and I also find it interesting that they require it, but they also require this little metal fence 6 inches off the
That does
state
nothing.
highway. That
Yeah.
does nothing. Yeah.
Well, it does for
He was
pedestrians.
speeding. This young man was.
Not if, it's supposed to keep pedestrians in the pedestrian area.
I
It
follow
doesn't
that.
keep vehicles out of the
No, I
pedestrian
follow that, but just that they would allow
So your
that.
dog doesn't pull you into.
I didn't make the rule, but that is what
Yeah.
that's what they'd say.
So we don't have any money to fix it, was my point.
So that, yeah, we could talk about that. That shouldn't be coming out of insurance.
Okay.
Those stuff, hit and runs, it's either insurance or it's not insurance. But we've talked about that. Okay, I think we've been here long enough. Next meeting is Thursday. Where we will pick it all up again.
We need a motion to adjourn.
No.
I'm gonna go stop the recording, but until that is off, we are still recording live.
Do you mind if I contact you again when I do some troubleshooting?
Please, so you and I have done this every year. I think actually, you reached out to me earlier this year, or maybe the previous year, because the system never renewed me. And
Right,
you
I
did
had.
some.
I had to manually go in there.
I had done it, but the system never processed it. So, no, I used me as a guinea pig.